What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back with another video. This time I want to talk about superstar Damian Lillard, who most recently has been in a lot of trade rumors as time in Portland looks like it's coming to an end. And Dame, as you guys know, has spent his entire career in Portland with the Blazers and is extremely loyal to that fan base as well as that city. But after some heartbreaking playoff runs and disappointment, it looks like Dame's time in Portland is finally coming to an end. And in my personal opinion, I think Dame has earned the right to demand a trade, as he's quite literally given everything to the city of Portland. Now in this video today, we're going to look at these 6 teams I think have the best shot at getting Dame, and look at the best trade packages they have to offer. Now without wasting any more time, let's look at the top 6 teams Dame could be traded to. And first up, I have an honorable mention, that being the LA Lakers. And I had to put the Lakers on this list because they are the Lakers, and they always attract big-time superstars. But I think looking at their overall roster and what they have to offer, it's not great for a team in Portland that's looking to rebuild after Dame is gone. The best trade offer I saw was Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and 2 first-round picks in exchange for Dame. Those are some pretty solid pieces, but I think Portland in particular is looking to rebuild and start from the bottom up. Having Schroeder, Harrell, and Kuzma, it doesn't make you one of the worst teams in the West, and those 2 first-round picks really aren't valuable coming from the Lakers. But overall, this trade package, I would say at best, is a C-, and overall, it's not a very good trade for Portland. Now first up at number 6, we have the New Orleans Pelicans, and the best trade offer I saw was Dame Lillard, Robert Covington, in exchange for Brandon Ingram, Eric Bledsoe, and 4 first-round picks. Now this right here is a pretty big haul, and in return, you get Brandon Ingram, a bona fide all-star, and possibly a future superstar. So for Portland in this trade, you get draft picks, not great draft picks, but still draft picks, and you get Ingram, a guy who has potential to be one of the best scorers, one of the best players in the entire NBA. Now why I put them at number 6 is I think Dame and the Blazers, if they do demand a trade, they're going to try to get him to a place he actually wants to go. And I don't think the Pelicans are high up on Dame's list, so I think Portland, showing respect, will not trade Dame to the Pelicans because he's been so loyal his entire career in Portland. But overall, this trade package is definitely very, very intriguing, and just off the players alone, I would give it a B+ in terms of trade value. Now next up, we have a big market team, that being the New York Knicks. And the Knicks, for the first time in a long time, actually have a very solid squad with some valuable trade pieces. And the trade I saw for them involved Dame going to New York in exchange for RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Emmanuel Quickley, and 3 first-round picks. And I think looking at those players, RJ Barrett has the potential to be a very good all-star caliber player and a very good two-way player, as late in the year, he showed great strides on the defensive end. Also, Mitchell Robinson, I think, is a pretty underrated player. He was hurt this year, but still his athletic ability, his defensive prowess, he's a very, very solid piece. And also IQ from last year's draft, I thought was the biggest sleeper and the biggest surprise out of that draft class. So getting all 3 of these players, as well as 3 picks, in exchange for Dame, I think is pretty good value for Portland. But from the Knicks' perspective, would you give up all that just for Dame Lillard, a guy who's 31 years old? If I was a Knicks fan, I'd be conflicted, as you finally made the playoffs for the first time in a long time. And if push came to shove on this trade, I would pull the trigger if I was a Knicks fan. And the grade I would give this trade for Portland is an A-, as you get great young players as well as 3 first-round picks. Now staying in the Northeast, next up, we have the Boston Celtics. And with new GM Brad Stevens, he might be looking to pull off a blockbuster trade. And the trade I saw was Dame Lillard going to Boston in exchange for Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and 2 first-round picks. And I think this specific trade is intriguing for both sides, as Boston gets a much-needed upgrade at point guard, and Portland gets an all-star in Jaylen Brown and a great veteran in Marcus Smart. But if I was Portland, I think this trade is not exactly what you need. Of course, JB and Marcus Smart are great, but if I was the GM of Portland, I would more so value picks. With Boston, those 2 first-round picks are not going to make great selections, as Boston for the next few years is probably going to be pretty good and at least competing for the top 5 seeds in the East. So in terms of trade packaging in this deal, I think for Portland, this trade is a solid B, as you get a great young player in Jaylen Brown, who has the potential to be your franchise star. The only real question is if Boston will actually part ways with him, as every year in his career, he's come back better, and he's improved his game after every summer. So there's a big time trade for both teams. If I think it came down to it, I think both sides would actually walk away. Now staying in the Eastern Conference, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. And once again, a very intriguing trade package that has Dame going to Philadelphia in exchange for Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, and 3 first-round picks. And very similar to the Boston trade in Ben Simmons, you get a young star who I think is still a very good player, but after this year's playoffs, his trade value has tanked, and the overall vibe and feel I get is that Ben Simmons, he's close to peaking as an NBA player, that his shot has never improved, and on the offensive end, he's extremely limited. Now with that being said, Ben Simmons is still a dominant defensive player, and if he were Portland, you're at least getting back a solid all-star who can possibly be the face of your franchise. Now Tyrese Maxey is basically an added bonus, has the potential to be a very good scorer and a very good spark plug off the bench. But I think the clear centerpiece of this trade is Ben Simmons, and if I were Philadelphia, I would definitely pull the trigger on this trade, but if I were Portland, I would be a little more hesitant, as Ben Simmons, his future, his overall ceiling is still unknown, and in my personal opinion, he is very close to peaking as an NBA player. So if I had to grade this trade for Portland, I would give a solid B, as Ben Simmons is still a very good all-star caliber player, and Tyrese Maxey has shown very good potential. Now going down south, we have the Miami Heat, and the Heat have a ton to offer. In the trade I saw, they have Tyler Hero, Precious Achiuwa, 4 first-round picks going to Portland in exchange for Dame. And I think this trade would definitely be enough to get the job done. And if you are the GM in Portland, you would love having those first-round picks, as well as Tyler Hero and Precious, who are really great young players. Hero this year kind of regressed and the hype died off, but I still think in the future, he'll be a very good offensive player. Could he run your offense? Maybe not. But he's a good off-ball guard and a great streaky scorer. And if you're looking to rebuild in Portland, getting all those first-round picks is definitely a huge plus. Even if they're mid-tier picks, at least you get those picks for the future, and you're basically revamping the whole team as a young squad that can build from the bottom up. Now if I had to grade this trade, I would give a solid B+. Now, last but not least, we have the Golden State Warriors, one of the more unlikely places Dame could go. And the trade package I saw was a pretty hefty trade package. We had Dame going to Golden State in exchange for Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, Eric Paschall, and 2 high first-round picks. That is definitely a haul for the superstar point guard, and I think this trade offer is the best offer out of anyone on this list. And if I was Portland, I would take that in a heartbeat, as you get Wiggins and Wiseman, 2 great young pieces, and you also get a very solid player in Eric Paschall, and a very coveted 7th pick in the 2021 draft. And this specific trade checks every single box, and if you're a GM for the Blazers, if Golden State offers this, you take this 100% of the time, and this trade, in my opinion, is a A+ trade for both sides. And I think if Dame went to Golden State, that makes the backcourt of Steph Curry and Dame easily the best backcourt in the NBA, and I think possibly the best backcourt in NBA history, as both guys can pull from 40 and they can catch fire in a moment. And from a selfish fan perspective, I would definitely want to see this trade go down, as Dame and Golden State would be a dream come true. The only request I have is that Golden State would give up that much. That is a lot for Dame Lillard. Yes, a great player, but that is basically your whole young core and your future young core in exchange for Dame, a 31-year-old point guard. It's a hefty haul, but it's a very intriguing trade, and I think both sides would be tempted to pull it off. So that right there is our last Dame trade offer, and I think all these trade offers are pretty solid and pretty fair for both sides. And if you have any thoughts of your own, any dark horse teams, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.